My Weirder-est School, Book Number 9. Mrs. Barr has gone too far. Written by Dan Gutman. Pictures by Jim Pelot. Chapter 1. Don't know much about geography. My name is AJ and I know what you're thinking. You're thinking about the Great Lakes. What makes the Great Lakes so great? That's what I want to know. If you ask me, lakes shouldn't brag. If they were really great, they wouldn't have to talk about how great they are all the time. What about the other lakes? Don't they feel bad because they're not great? Is there a not so great lake? Anyway, it was a perfectly normal Monday at elementary school. In other words, there was nothing normal about it. I hung up my coat in my cubby. That's when my teacher, Mr. Cooper, came flying into the room. He tripped over somebody's backpack and did a face plant into the garbage can. I'm okay, he said as he took the can off his head. Then we pledged the allegiance and did word of the day. Should we turn to page 23 in our math books? Asked Andrea Young, this annoying girl with curly brown hair. No, said Mr. Cooper. Are we going to do silent reading? Asked Andrea's crybaby friend Emily. No. Science? Asked Ryan, who will eat anything, even stuff that isn't food. No. Can we go home? I asked. I figured it was worth a shot. No, replied Mr. Cooper. Today we're going to do something different. Uh-oh, I didn't like the sound of that. Different is scary. You never know what's gonna happen. Different could be good or it could be bad. What are we going to do? Asked Michael, who never ties his shoes. This morning, said Mr. Cooper, we're going to see a slideshow. No, not a slideshow. Anything but a slideshow. Slideshows are super boring. I'd rather jump into a volcano wearing a pink tutu than watch a slideshow. I'm going to show you pictures of my trip to Spain, said Mr. Cooper. No. Mr. Cooper went to Spain to visit his sister. We had a sub for a week while he was gone. He turned on his computer and plugged it into the smart board. Oh, you're going to like this, he told us. Spain was amazing. I was like a fish out of water. Huh? What did fish have to do with anything? Here's me at the Royal Palace in Madrid, Mr. Cooper said when his first slide flashed on the screen. Ooh, it's beautiful, said Andrea, who thinks everything is beautiful. I was already feeling drowsy. I felt my eyelids getting heavy. Here's my sister at a church in Barcelona, said Mr. Cooper. I was fighting off sleep. Here's a man playing guitar outside the walled city of Toledo, he continued. Zzz. Here's my sister at a fruit market. What a snooze fest. Here's my sister at a bullfight, said Mr. Cooper. Bullfights are cool, said Neil, who we call the nude kid even though he wears clothes. I think bullfighting is cruel to animals, said Andrea. I don't approve of violence. What do you have against violins? I asked her. Not violins, Arlo, violence. I was just yanking Andrea's chain. I know the difference between violins and violence. Mr. Cooper's PowerPoint torture went on for 1,100 minutes. He went over to a big map on the wall. Who can find Spain on the map? He asked. Andrea waved her hand in the air, like she had to go to the bathroom really badly. How about you, AJ? Asked Mr. Cooper. Can you point to Spain? I didn't know where Spain was. But I got up and went over to the map. Here? I asked, pointing to some big area near the bottom. That's Antarctica, said Mr. Cooper. Here? I asked. That's Greenland, said Mr. Cooper. Here? That's Australia. Mr. Cooper rubbed his forehead. Ooh, groaned Andrea. I know where Spain is. Mr. Cooper called on her. She went up and pointed to some area near the middle of the map. That's right, said Mr. Cooper. Very good, Andrea. Andrea went back to her seat, smiling the smile that she smiles to let everybody know she knows something nobody else knows. Why can't a chuck full of maps fall on Andrea's head? Okay, said Mr. Cooper. Who can find China? Andrea was the only one with her hand in the air. All the rest of us stared at the floor. If you don't know the answer to a question, stare at the floor so the teacher won't call on you. That's the first rule of being a kid. It's right here, Mr. Cooper said, pointing at the map. How about Turkey? Can anybody other than Andrea find Turkey? That's a ridiculous question. Why would a turkey be on a map? Was somebody using the map as a dinner plate? We all stared at the floor. How about Greece? Asked Mr. Cooper. Where's Greece? Is it Turkey, Greece? Asked Alexia, this girl who rides a skateboard all the time. Somebody should clean that map off, I said. It's making me hungry. Only a few kids laughed at my hilarious joke. How about Africa? Asked Mr. Cooper. Surely you can find that. It's a very large continent. I know what a continent is. That's when you poop your pants. But it would have been rude to say that out loud. I can point to Africa, shouted the human homework machine. How about you, Emily? Asked Mr. Cooper. Emily looked nervous as she went over to the map. She pointed at a continent. That's not Africa, said Mr. Cooper. That's South America. I thought Emily might cry. Mr. Cooper rubbed his forehead again. This is basic geography, you guys, he said. Can anybody find Russia, Germany, Finland? I raised my hand. Yes, AJ? I can't find them on the map, I said. But if you're rushing to the bathroom and you're German before you wash your hands and you're Finnish when you leave, what are you while you're in the bathroom? I give up, said Mr. Cooper. What are you? European, I shouted. Get it? European? Mr. Cooper rubbed his forehead and mumbled something under his breath about early retirement.